What's up, friendos, and welcome in to Bet This League right here on In This League. It's week 5 of the NFL. I'm Chris Welsh. That is Scott Bogman. And today we are going through our best bets, our props for the week. Where was the money? We're going to do some side bets, and we will do the entire slate. We'll pick all the games, see what absolute trash came out of last week, because week 4 was huge. Bogman, this weekend, I showed all of my bets to a baby, and the baby started crying, and I said, "Oh, don't worry. He just probably knows I'm a huge piece of shit, or I used to be a huge piece of shit." Those are just my bets, actually, that were garbage last week. And also, it was the first week in our pentathlon that you and I didn't, converse about the picks because you were busy, and then it was too late, and I made the picks. Disaster. Everything I touched.
It wasn't good for anybody. Last week was bad for everybody. Yeah, it wasn't good. I was like 2-2 on my props. The only thing that I did get,
I'd kill for that.
We don't really count. Well, the week before you were perfect, so don't harp on it. It was the touchdowns. I got all 3 of my touchdown calls, so that was cool. Everything else was normal.
Yeah, I mean, baby, that was cool.
You think that you were bad? Go look at my against the spread record from last week, because it was horrific. You would have been better flipping coins. Which, by the way, some people think maybe just bring back the coin stick. That was pretty good.
But it's so funny this came up. That's so weird. I did the prop show with Pisapia and Erickson earlier today, and after we were talking about something, and I literally brought up the coin, and I told them what we did, and I was like, we actually had this thing, and I'm like, the coin killed it for the first 2 weeks.
It was at least 50%.
No, it was like, dude, it was like 80% the first 2 weeks. And then it completely fell apart, of course, as it would, because it's just a complete guessing system, which I suppose all of this is. But I was telling them, I was like, dude, we would just flip a coin and people loved it. The coin projection system was amazing. But yeah, we would have been better. It was a bad week kind of all around last week, at least for us. Maybe some dudes out there that absolutely killed it, but a lot of things that didn't work out. Most of the logic, like, the one that eats me up is, like, I feel I'm okay. I can live with the ones where my logic was like really good. Look at the Demario Douglas one. Like, I don't know. That was a little bit more vibes. It was a little bit more feel, and it didn't work out.
Stefon Diggs for me, 5 receptions and then a rushing touchdown. Couldn't catch one more pass to get to 6. Like,
yeah, but you were like there. Like, my point was like Tyreek Hill. That was one of my takes. I was doing on business. Oh, you idiot. But like, the logic was there, and I feel okay about it. Like, they did screen passes, they got him the ball, but it just didn't work out. I can kind of live with myself about that one. The Demario Douglas, it was like, I just think this is blah, blah, blah. And it didn't. And it was like, he had 1 catch, and he did have this like big wide open thing that, Brissett couldn't possibly go to a second read and look to him. But like, that one was just kind of dumb. But
yeah, listen, to be fair, you bet on the Patriots to do something positive. Like,
you learned.
I did it the week before. I had on the Thursday night game, I had Jalen Polk, I had Demario Douglas. Nothing hit for me either. You just can't bet on the Patriots. I think that's a rule of life. Post Tom Brady Patriots, don't bet on them.
No, well, you can bet unders. That might be the way to go. Bet the unders. Yeah, play the unders. We're going to go through our props. That's what we're going to start off with. And then we will tell you where that money was at last week, where it's at this week, our sides. And then, of course, we will go through our entire schedule for making the picks. So again, last week was disastrous. I think you said you were 2-2. I was 1-6. It was really bad of my official bets. So it was pretty disastrous there. If you had just bet your touchdown calls, you would have made a lot of money last week if you'd have played out on those. You've got quite a few. You're going to go 7 deep with some touchdown calls. I have 6, but I'm putting a touchdown call on my official card. So let's get into it. We turn off of last week. There's some ones I really like, but I guess, last week I really liked some of these. I'm really attached to a couple of them, but let's hear yours, Bog. Let's start it off, or actually let's remind everybody inthisleague.com. They want to check out. We're actually live streaming this as we record it on our Patreon. So if you guys cared, you could watch it after the fact. You could watch it early before it airs on the podcast. Know that you're supporting us. We love you. Feed Bogman's cat. Don't let it go hungry.
# feed captain.
Yep. inthisleague.com. Sign up today. Make sure no cat goes hungry, especially captain. Let's talk about it, Boggs. What do you got on the props for week 5?
All right, so I have two that are like, I'm going over the normal, and this is CJ Stroud over 23.5 completions. And no Mixon, no Pierce again. Houston is a home underdog against Buffalo, or they were. I think that actually has flipped back to Houston now, but it's a close
probably game. Because the Shakir is officially out. That was just announced, and Curtis Samuel looks like he's going to probably jump into the role. So amazing that Khalil Shakir could flip that, but he was the safety net for the Bills. So I'm actually not surprised that game would flip.
Look, check out Keon Coleman this week, maybe, but maybe 23.5 completions. Tank Dell is back as well. I think 23.5 completions is very doable in a back and forth, what we assume is going to be a high scoring game between these teams. So that's one of the like higher ones that I hit. The other one that is like a normal number that I hit here, Chuba Hubbard over 80.5 rush and receiving yards. And once again, Welsh, your early season taking a look at the combo yards instead of just the rush or receiving yards saves us a little juice here. I believe this was minus 125 at like 77 or 76 rushing yards for Chuba, something like that. So I said, well, what's the combo? And I just went down and looked, and it's 80.5. It actually went up a yard since I put it in like an hour ago, but that one is minus 115. And Chuba in the last two games with Andy Dalton under center, his totals have been 160 and 121 total yards in the last two games. So just more room for him to roam, more room for him to work. And they're looking for him with those bunk beds for sure in Carolina. So he has been great. I think those are the two. Then the rest, I'm picking on low totals. I got Tank Bigsby over 24.5 rushing yards. He's questionable, so obviously pay attention in this game, but he has two rushes longer than 24.5. I think this dude is going to be pretty good here. Also, the longest rush is 10.5 yards as well. Our guy Derek Brown pointed out that he is first in explosive run rate, third in missed tackles forced per attempt, and first in yards after contact per attempt. So he just needs carries. That's all he needs to get to this. So if he gets 7 or 8, I think he sails past that. I'm going to go with Cortland Sutton over 48.5 receiving yards. He's hit this in the last 2 weeks. The Raiders are not the worst statistically against the pass, but grade the worst against the pass on PFF. Raiders defense is also very, very banged up. I don't expect a lot from Bo Nix, but 60 yards I think is doable for Cortland Sutton every single week, no matter how bad Bo Nix is. And I think this week is no exception. We're going to go to, once again, Welsh helping us out, 55.5 rush plus receive yards for Marvin Harrison. Isn't much more than his receiving total. And the Niners against true number ones. I mean, I don't think when you guys played the Rams, they didn't have a number one. When you guys played the Patriots, I still don't think the Patriots have a number one. But against true ones like Garrett Wilson, they gave up 60 yards. And I can't remember the other game. He gave up. I had it written down. You had another one where they gave up a decent amount. Oh, Justin Jefferson was 4 for 133.
You just said this, but I don't know if you know the extent of this. And when Bogman says my name on the rushing, you're talking about when I found Juwan Jennings cheaper.
Yes.
Not only his juice was better, but the yard was lower on rush and receiving. That's the case with Marvin Harrison right now. I don't know if you even noticed this. His receiving yard prop is 50. This is on DK as we record this. 56.5 minus 120. His rushing and receiving is 55, 1 yard less at minus 110. So
they're making a lot of changes.
Cheaper. It's like, crazy.
As I was putting these bets on the sheet, I saw numbers changing like on the screen.
You get less yards at better juice for Marvin Harrison if you look at the rush and receiving on him. That's
double crazy. Check. That's if you're betting on DK, FanDuel, whatever, always double check. So I like that one. It was 4 for 133 for Justin Jefferson. So 5 catches for Harrison. I think he goes over 55.5. Emmanuel Wilson for the Packers. His rush total is 28.5. He had a 40% snap share the last 2 weeks in a row. Rams have given up the second most yards, rushing yards per game. That actually might be the most, because when I went to look, I forgot Atlanta played last night and gave up a bunch of rushing yards. So they might actually be leading the league in rush yards given up per game. They're also, the Packers are top 10 in time of possession. The Rams are bottom 10 in time of possession. And when you think about that in the end of this game, if the Packers are up big, which they did lose some pieces here, right? Dobbs is down, Watson is down for this week, or I think they're both listed as doubtful, so probably not going to play. So I think Emmanuel Wilson gets the carries. 28.5 is not a high total. And the last one I have for you in terms of props, and this one is just one. This total is just too low. Noah Gray over 18.5 receiving yards. They're down a bunch of receivers right now. Rashee Rice out, obviously, and gonna miss some time. By the way, did you see they're trying to get his court date moved back up?
Oh,
right
no,
now?
I saw the report that they're now looking to try to no, let's serve the time right now. The suspension to do it this year. Like, come on, dude.
Of course. But yeah, 18.5 receiving yards, I think is just too low. He can get that on 2 catches. And I think this is a game where he definitely can get 2 catches against the Saints on Monday Night Football. So
you got 7 on your official card props.
Yes.
And then what's with your touchdown play? You got 4 touchdowns. Are these just ones that you kind of dig in? Are you parlaying?
These are touchdown calls for like if you're on Price Picks, if you're on Underdog, if you want to put 2 together. I wouldn't say string 4 touchdown calls together. It's ridiculous. You can. Welsh and I tried to do it with 3 yesterday and lost miserably. But
not one hit.
Yeah,
but that was also being kind of doofy. And one of the most ridiculous. If I were
Thursday night play,
I would. What I was actually going to do was do Mike Evans and Bijan, and it still would have failed because Bijan didn't score. That would have been my actual one. This was like, how can we get 12,000 to 1 and then not one hit? But
right.
Yeah.
So these are just touchdown calls with a little juice that I like. Justin Fields plus 145 against the Cowboys. That's, Steelers and Cowboys. Cowboys have been really bad against the rush. The Steelers don't pass the ball so much. Najee Harris is Stevie Wonder running behind that line. We talked about it last week. Justin Fields is the goal line back here for Pittsburgh right now. Brian Thomas to catch one and go long against the Colts, I think is a decent bet, and that's plus 195. You're doubling up your money on a Trey McBride score against the Niners, plus 205. I don't hate that one either. And Dontavian Wicks to score a big one against the Rams is plus 155. So I added and deleted about 6 others. I found a reason to not like them, but these are the ones that I fell on. So, these are calls, like I said, Underdog, Prize Picks, or do 2 of them. Don't string them all together. Just because my 3 hit last week, that's not very, it's not a reasonable expectation to happen every single week. If it does again, then follow every touchdown pick I do. So that's what I'll say. If I get all of them 2 weeks in a row, then I'm just on fire. But those are the ones I like for this week.
Greatest touchdown caller of all time. All right. Turning it around, I got 6 plays on my card. I do have 1 touchdown that I love so much I'm going to put on the official card. We're going to start it off with London they're playing in?
Yeah, London.
Yeah, London. Mm-hmm. Garrett Wilson. Love Garrett Wilson. 54.5 receiving yards. I know he's underperformed. Vikings are giving up the most receiving yards to wide receivers in the NFL. Garrett Wilson's number is 54.5. Of the 2 teams, which the Vikings are one, that have given up over 800 receiving yards, the Vikings gave up the most and in 9 less catches than the next team. So it's not just like it's a bunch of yards. They're also giving up bigger play yards.
The Vikings have been winning too, and teams have to play comeback. So if that happens for the Jets, then I love this for Garrett Wilson.
Wilson has also seen 8 or more targets in 3 of his last 4 games, and he has hit this total in 2 of his last 4. This is coming off of obviously Aaron Rodgers complaining about the offense. They're going to want to sling it a little bit more. Love this matchup for Garrett Wilson. It's a great number. It's a low number. 54.5 over Garrett Wilson, probably my favorite. Revenge narrative, DJ Moore, 4.5 receptions. Books don't love it because it's actually gotten better juice as a little time has gone on. But Moore has hit this in 3 of his last 4 games. By the way, last week, or I think this is on the season, I think. Yeah, it's season. 31% first read percentage and 23% design plays towards. He had 1 game where he did not hit his receiving total, and he had like 5 catches in the first half. That's the deal with this. You give me revenge narrative, give me them wanting to get the ball in his hands. It's a middle line team, by the way. It's like an average cornerback, wide receiver matchup rating. They give up some yards for sure. We know they've had to sling the living crap out of the ball, and you don't usually see DJ Moore under 5, and this is 4.5. So I'm going to take over 4.5.
JC Horn of the Panthers has been a victim of the big play as well a lot this year. So
that might be a play for his receiving yards because
that might just
yards
be
aren't too big.
Yeah, that might just be it. I mean, a bunch of catches in front of him and then go as well. Like JC Horn sucks.
He's DJ Moore's top 20 in the league in first read percentage. And also the design play stuff. I think that's huge. You don't usually see the design play over like 20%. So I really like that combination. I love the receiving yards. I also love the receiving yards for George Pickens, 54.5. It actually moved down to 53.5. So it's, I'll take that. He's hit this in 3 of his last 4 outings. Projections on BP over 60. Projections on PFF over 60 at 63. Pickens last week, by the way, was number 2 in the NFL in air yards and had a 60% air yards share. Listen, the Cowboys, they're going to give up some of those plays. If the Steelers are playing from behind, they're slinging the ball. Their secondary has not been fantastic. And literally, George Pickens plays off of those big plays, 150 air yards in there. That doesn't change. So, and if they're going deep, they are going to Pickens. 53.5 actually is the official number. Even better, even lower. Love that against the Cowboys. I have got 2 more and then the touchdown call. I'm going back to Tyreek Hill. I said this on BP.
I almost took it.
I said this on BP. Don't follow this. Don't listen to it. Whatever. Curse me to yourself because I don't want to hear it. But I'm taking it because it's under 50. Tyreek last week, 127 air yards with an 18 ADOT, while Huntley was the worst ever. But like I said before, my logic is I got to see all the stuff that I wanted to see. Screenplays, they threw a pass deep. Just Huntley looks so bad. And he's got another, you pointed out, he's been with the team since like September 24th or some ridiculous date. He's got 1 more week in that offense where they are trying to move the ball. And by the way, Patriots give up the 5th most passing yards to wide receivers. Erickson had this interesting point where he brought up, it sounded like it was going to be a negative where he's like, well, are they going to put Christian Gonzalez on Tyreek Hill? And I was like, that's something to think about because Tyreek moves around. And he said, well, here's my point. If they do, that means more man coverage looks. And man coverage for Tyreek Hill
don't man up Tyreek
is a burn and churn. So like either way, the good corner might spell a big play for Tyreek Hill. And if not, open space, Tyreek Hill, boom, 5th most receiving yards. So it's too low. I'll just do this until I'm broke and maybe it'll be next week. But Tyreek Hill, 100%. I'm going to steal this one from Erickson because I like this one a lot. Brock Bowers receiving yards, 43.5. One of the reasons behind it as well, you can do some passing against the Broncos, but looking at the Broncos matchups, and there's been a receiver that has broken past like the 4.5 catches, the high receiving yards, but it's never the number 1 receiver. They lock down if you go and look at the game logs, it's Surtain. Yeah, it's like 3 of the 4. It's the number 2 or 3 wide receiver that breaks out in that game. They shut the number 1s down. So part of this, by the way, came from Jacoby Myers has huge plus money for 4.5 receptions. Jacoby Myers is the number 1, should catch 9 balls on a normal team, but they're plus moneying it because of that top coverage. So what happens when Jacoby Myers is open? 2 things. Trey Tucker's kind of sexy, if we're being honest. 3.5 receptions is fun. But Brock Bowers dropped a big 30-yard one last week. It's at 43. He was underutilized this past week, and it's 43 yards. Yeah, because Myers is going to get taken out of the game. You've got Zamir White out. It's Brock Bowers time. So I'm co-signing this with Erickson. I really like that one. And then final one, Amari Cooper anytime touchdown. Listen, I don't love Amari.
This one too.
I don't love Amari Cooper. I love Amari Cooper more than I like Deshaun Watson.
Of course.
But it's the Washington Commanders who have given up 10 receiving touchdowns through 4 games. And guess what? On DK, this number was plus 180. Joe and I, because Joe loved this too, on FanDuel, plus 220 for Amari Cooper anytime touchdown. Smashed it. I instantly smashed that on FanDuel. So I'm a little bit tenuous about touchdowns. I'll be honest with you. I also like Alexander Mattison. I think that's changed. It was like 240, but now Zamir White looks like he's out. So that may have
did not practice today.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I can even like quickly look. So like the Madison one, I probably like a little bit. If it moved outside of the 200, I'm going to like it a lot less because he's been sneaky. Let's see if I'm dragging to it, if I can find it.
I thought it was 58.
Yeah, dude. It went from 2. Yeah, his rushing yard is 265. It went from 240. It's now plus 165 for Madison. So I kind of like that one. But Amari Cooper is my favorite. So again, and you can speak on any of these if you want. Wilson receiving yards over, Pickens receiving yards over, Tyreek Hill receiving yards over, Bowers receiving yards over, DJ Moore receptions, and Amari Cooper anytime touchdowns. Those are my props as we speak.
Yeah, I like all of these. The only thing that scares me at all is that I think the Raiders are packing it in, and I don't know what they were doing last week with, getting Brock Bowers the ball only twice. That's the only one that scares me, because I think Antonio Pierce is going to be out of that job pretty soon. By the way, he can't go to college. I don't know if you saw that, but Arizona State, they had the sanctions put on Antonio Pierce, and now he can't coach in college for the next 8 years at least. So don't know what he's going to do.
You see those things too. It's like he took like players to like a strip club or parents to a strip club and like threw some
I
people
think a
in
lot of
van.
colleges do that and they don't get caught, but he was just too obvious. Like in COVID, when they're double and triple checking everything, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Just idiotic. So
he's making a business decision there, Boggs.
Yeah, well, the business decision should be to get rid of his ass, because I don't know if you've seen the coaching metrics and everything, but everything is showing that he is just like the worst decision maker in game by a wide margin this year. So I don't think he's long for that job. So that's the only one I fear, but that's more about the coaching stuff. Like if Gardner Minshew gets hot and Bowers is open, he'll feed him the ball.
We need that, by the way. We have him in the Superflex League this week. We have to start Minshew.
We got, who do we have on bye? We got somebody good on bye.
Jalen. Yeah, we have Jalen on bye. I know.
And
we didn't get a better third quarterback.
It's against Denver. Yeah, there's nobody left. I don't like it. All right, hopefully he runs one in. We'll see.
Yep, talk ourselves into it. So, all right, there you go. Amari Cooper anytime. Bogman, you got a host of them. What was your favorite of your list, by the way? Because like my two favorite, if I could pick them, it's Garrett Wilson and probably Tyreek Hill, if I'm being honest. Like, I love that. And then the anytime touchdown. What are your like top two?
Yeah, so my top three would be Marvin Harrison over 55.5 against your Niners. I just think they're playing from behind most of that game. So give him one big catch and he gets the majority of that. So I think that's big for him. The next one would be Emmanuel Wilson over that 28.5. I think they're salting away a victory late. I think he gets like 10 touches. I think he goes way over that one. And then the last one would probably be the Chuba Hubbard combo yards. He's touching the ball 20 times. So I expect that to keep going.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, let's pick our sides. Where was the money? And then we are going to do the whole slate, picking the games by spread. And we'll see how we can do with it. We'll do more right here on Bet This League. Where was the money? It was 50-50. We only had two last week that had 80% or more. The Cincinnati Bengals, they covered. The Rams did not. And that was it. This week, we have got two spreads. We've got 4 overs that have 80% or more of the money. So they would say that's where the public is lying. Bogman, this week, Seattle -7 versus the Giants. That's the highest of the spreads. And New Orleans +5.5 against Kansas City. Those are where the big money spreads are. The over-unders, number 1 is the Giants in Seattle over 42.5. That's over 90%. Jets, Minnesota, Cleveland, Washington, and Green Bay Rams, all overs. These are all overs, have 80% or more of the money. Is there anything in this that you like specifically where the public is?
I mean, I like nothing to take. I'm not following the public on my bets. I don't hate laying the points for Seattle, even on the road. I just think the Giants are abysmal and their best offensive player is gone this week. And maybe their second best offensive player in Singletary as well. We'll see if he gets up to play. But
I also don't mind the New Orleans +5.5. That since
I don't hate it. I'll pick that. I'll pick that when we do it. I wouldn't put money on it. So but I will pick it.
You know what? That is a great teaser right there. Seattle, get it down to -1, and then you would get New Orleans +11.5 against Kansas City.
Not bad. Yeah, not a bad teaser play. Yeah. These totals, the totals I don't really want to touch. If I had to pick one I like on an over, I would say Cleveland and Washington, because Washington's defense is bad and their offense has been playing so great. Maybe Deshaun Watson can figure something out. They don't have the greatest of pass rushes either. But there's still injuries on the Cleveland offensive line, so I don't really want to touch anything here.
Yeah, the overs, I mean, I like the Green Bay Rams over. I just don't maybe like that number. Again,
I don't like it at all.
I could see that. teasing it down, but I just probably wouldn't touch it. Yeah, I don't feel super hardcore about any of these. It's nothing that's in my betting market. So speaking of which, let's jump over to our sides overs. Obviously, sides covering both. I was awful last week. I only had 2 and missed the teaser. I'm trying to think what part of the teaser I didn't even pay attention. Carolina 10.5, Buffalo that missed. Miami awful. You were 1-3 or 1-2. You got the Washington Arizona over, which was a big over at 50.5.
I should have got that Cleveland Raiders over. They called back my Amari Cooper touchdown.
That would have hit you over. It was 37, and then Houston -6.
Ticky tack ass.
So what do you like on your sides this week?
Not much. I picked 2. I'm going to go with the Baltimore and Cincinnati under 49, and this is because, look, Cincinnati's defense hasn't been good, but Baltimore's form to win the last 2 weeks has been run the ball 100 times, which kills the clock, and they play really good defense. Cincinnati has not been hitting on all cylinders offensively quite yet, so I just think this total is way too big for this game. I see this closer to, 24-13 or 24-10 or something like that. I don't think this is going to be an insanely high scoring back and forth game. It needs to be for Cincinnati to be in it. I just don't think they're going to be in it. So I'll take Baltimore in the under there. Under 49 is my official play. And then I talk smack about Antonio Pierce. I'm just going to roll with it. Give me Denver -3. I don't think Antonio Pierce is doing anything right. They're at home against the Raiders. I just don't like anything the Raiders are doing right now. So give me Denver, and I'll lay the 3.
I like that. I am going with Green Bay, and I'm laying 3. They're traveling to the Rams. I just really like Green Bay right now. Jordan Love coming back, the 3 offensive receivers, Kraft getting going. I'm kind of selly on Jacobs, but you know what? It's more about volume with him. The combo between Emmanuel Wilson and Josh Jacobs, I just really like all of it. Rams defense, not great. Offensively, Kyren is a monster, but they're just weak as far as the wide receiver situation goes. They did show up the 49ers, of course, but the 49ers, I think, just were piss poor, and they pissed that away more than anything. I just really like the Rams on the road. I think their receivers are going to be way too much. I think they are going to be hyper aggressive as well. The Packers are. So I have personally made that bet. And then I told you about this one. This is a little bit different, and I know some people always want to be like, you just stick to the spread, I'm not going to stick to the spread. I'm going to give you
I don't understand that. Like,
it's like a traditionalist thing. I think it's like
it's
old
not
hardcore
blackjack. There aren't, numbers on this. Like,
but old hardcore bettors, it's like, as soon as you buy points, you've already lost. It's like, okay, that's fine. But I'm going to buy 2 points on players. And really what I'm doing is I'm adjusting and creating my own type of teaser here. What I'm doing is I'm taking the San Francisco 49ers, and then I'm taking the Seattle Seahawks. I'm moving both down to -2, and I'm parlaying that, and I'm getting I think it's like -105, -110. And that's what I'm playing. I could do money lines on both, but then you're down to like -135. So I'm just pushing that up a little bit. Like I said, -105, 110. If it's 115, I'm fine with either one of those. It's essentially to win the game. I mean, obviously they can win by 1 point and that screws it, but I'm moving both San Francisco and Seattle to -2, and I'm parlaying those together. And that is going to be my second of the side play. I haven't really fallen in love with really any of the other things, kind of like you said, but it's also a trend for us. You and I are not massive, big sides play guys, because I think if our main focus was playing sides, we would both look at the Saints and be like, gimme. The Saints +5.5. That would be like a total give me that all day. I think the Cowboys on the road +2, just as a road team in general, would probably be exciting. And maybe the Cardinals +7 if you wanted to good odds in your favor. But I don't. I think the 49ers could crush the Cardinals. The Chiefs could end up, trying to get the ball in the air, and the Steelers do weird stuff right now. But I think those would be the ones.
I don't like picking so much against the spread in NFL games. There's too much parity. That's why I stick to college on those sides and stuff, because, there's still, even with the transfer portal, there's more parity in college football, but it is just wide open.
Like Washington. If Washington was -2.5, I'd be more interested, and you could buy that down, but I'm not willing to buy down a full point to be interested in that game, to bet it. Like, I don't want to pay like -135 to get 2.5. Yeah. And it's like, dude, Washington's defense is so bad. As good as they've been on offense, like, I think the Browns are a pile of crap. But would I put it past because Washington's defense is so bad that, all of a sudden Amari Cooper has a game-winning touchdown like at the end? Like, no, that could happen. So that's why, I don't feel well enough to jump on some of those, but that's just us. Other people are really good at picking those, and sometimes we are really good at picking our full slate. So let's do it. Reminder though, Baltimore, Cincy under for Bogman, Denver -3. I'm Green Bay -3, and then a San Francisco, Seattle game adjusted line to -2 each. I know not all books you can do that. You can do that on DK. I can adjust the game line to -2. Maybe that tells you in your own world, if you want to tease them, you could tease them as well. And you could just get straight up 6 points if you tease them. And I think that would take the Niners down to 1, maybe 1.5 in some places. And then it would take, what the hell is the Seahawks are -7? Yeah, it would be both essentially -1 and it's -120 if you want to tease them. So it's a pseudo teaser. But let's take a look at our full game here. Last week, I was not great against the spread. I was 6-8-1, 8-7 on the over-unders. I'm actually surprised about that. I am now 29, 27-3 against the spread. So I'm only 2 games over 500, but I am 33-26 over-unders. That is 7 games. So that's a total of 9 games over 500 through 4 weeks. Bogman,
I missed last week. You guys forgot I wasn't here.
Yeah.
Wasn't able to make bets. So
it actually wouldn't have been much different. It would have been much different if you weren't. I didn't realize. Yeah, you had a rough spread.
2-12-1. Yeah, it was miserable. You
right.
could have literally thrown darts or flipped coins or asked a child about
tarot cards.
Games. Yeah, tarot cards. Yeah, space racism. Could have done that.
Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, astrology.
6-9 on over under. So you are 26-30. Against the spread and 24-35. So it's a few games under 500. We're going to fix that.
This is why we pick the games we like. So
yeah. This is why we picked them together on our pentathlon. By the way, pentathlon, we're second place. I want to point out, like, I screwed us on the picks last week. And you know what? You want to know what killed 2 bugs? When I did our picks for us, I had a couple. I was like, I know Bogman wants this one. So like,
you shouldn't have listened to me. You should have just went with your gut.
If we would have scored better if I would have went with mine, but I kind of like went back and forth. But want to point out in pentathlon, we are second place in pentathlon. We are alive in Survivor. Half the teams are gone. We're number 1 in Superflex. We're 5th in Best Ball. And I S the bed for DFS and picks last week. So hopefully we'll recover, but we're still second. That's all that matters. Pat Fitzmaurice. Shout out to Pat Fitzmaurice, who is number 1. And I think Davis Maddock is under us in the pentathlon.
Yeah. I think Maddock is number 1 in Best Ball. So
okay, well, we're going to fix that. But yes, we're going to turn that around. So let's kick it off with the full slate picks. Jets at Minnesota. Minnesota's a 2.5-point favorite. 40.5 is the line.
Hate these London games. I'm going to take the Vikings just because they've been hot and the Jets haven't been. So I'll lay the points. I'll take the over as well. I just think that's a low total in an NFL game. Don't really like this, but I'll take. Give me the Vikings in the over.
I am going to go with the Jets, but I'm also going to go with the over because this is not a home game for Minnesota. A lot of complaining from Aaron Rodgers. Defensively, they're good. I think there's some weaknesses on Minnesota's defense that I've talked about. I think the Jets are going to be way more hyper aggressive on offense. And I just don't think Minnesota's going to go 5-0, but they might. They're a really good team. No doubt. I'm not trying to take away, but if I get some points in a non-home game situation, yeah, I'm gonna go with the Jets, and I'll have to take the over. I think this line. I mean, listen, if this game is 7-4, I'm not going to be surprised. But like, also, you could have even worse defensive plays, and this could go over. I'll go with the over here.
I won't wake up for it.
I also will not. I will wake up to what has happened. I will hopefully wake up to Garrett Wilson and that cashed already when I decide to wake up. 6:30. I think it's 6:30.
It's 8:30 for me, but I'm still not waking up.
Well, I mean, you could get up for that. 6:30.
I won't. No way.
All right. Well. Next game up. What the hell is it? Miami -1 at New England. Super low line of 36.
Just why would you bet this? If you bet this game, then you have to watch it. That's the worst part of it.
Well, yeah, I have to watch it for Tyreek Hill, though.
Yeah, I mean, watch the box score. I'll take the Dolphins because New England is miserable. There's even been rumors, and I actually did read this. It was not a dream, that there are rumblings in the locker room about Brissett versus May maybe Drake May comes into this game. I don't think he's ready. So I'll take the Dolphins. The total I really hate because there's nothing clicking, but both offenses are horrible. Like you can trip into 36 points in the NFL, but I'm going to take the under because both offenses have been miserable. So Miami in the under, I hate it. Hate every part about it.
I'm joining you. I like Miami way more than I like the total. I'm not touching the total. It could go. I put over and then I deleted it. Went under. It could be the thing. These teams could 13-10. The Dolphins could figure it out and they could score all these points themselves. I think New England is embarrassing to watch, but Tyler Huntley was embarrassing to watch. So I'm banking on a little bit more efficiency. I'll go with the under as well. Maybe this is a 20-10 game in favor of Miami. That's where I'm going to go with that. Indy at Jacksonville. Spread is 346 is the total.
Indy at Jacksonville. I can't trust Jacksonville right now. So give me Indy. I'll take the under here because Jacksonville's offense has actually been moving the ball and then not scoring. So I don't know. I don't really like this game. I know I don't like Jacksonville. I think Doug Peterson is getting close to the cut. He's going to be in the guillotine league pretty soon and get cut. But give me the Colts. Give me the under.
I will take the Colts, and I'm actually going to take the over in this one. Two not good defenses. That's kind of the big thing. And they are going to sling the ball. I don't think there's any Jonathan Taylor. Etienne and Bigsby are both kind of banged up. If the Colts are efficient, it's going to be Jacksonville playing from behind. They're going to be slinging the ball. All the receivers in. I'm going to play the over. Also just bad defenses. So Indy and the over, though, for me. Buffalo at Houston. Houston's a 1-point favorite at home. 47 is the line. We know there's no Khalil Shakir for Buffalo. So Curtis Samuel and MVS, just like you want it. Those are your big step-ups, I guess. But we know Tank Dell is back. So what say you on this one?
I think this is just going to be a fun back and forth game, so I wouldn't bet it. I'll take the home team in CJ Stroud. This should be a good one, but I do kind of like the over here. Still a lot of points, so I won't play it, but I like the over more than the side, but I'll take the home team, Houston, in the over.
We're same here. This is not good. We're pretty locked in.
You guys know what to bet then.
Yep, exactly. I'm going to go Houston in the over. I think this could go either way, of course, but I feel like I want to go on Houston every single week. The only problem is they're just not as good with Joe Mixon. I don't think they have as much of a running game, but that also that leads to the over. I guess I would probably prefer the over than I would the spread.
This is why ignore both of them and take the over on CJ Stroud completions that I have. That's the one I like in this game.
Yeah, maybe. Cleveland at Washington. Washington's a 3.5-point favorite at home. 43.5 is the line.
This feels really trappy for sure. But I can't trust Cleveland until they show me something. They haven't shown me anything yet. I'm going to take Washington at home. I will lay the points. I'll take the over here too, because like we said before, Washington's defense, not good. Cleveland maybe can get a little bit done because the pass rush isn't as great for Washington as it is for some of the teams that they played. Watson can't take those sacks though. So I'm more interested in the Washington side, but I'll take the over as well.
I am going to, you were saying it's trappy. Give me the hook, so I'm going to take Cleveland. If you're going to give me that, easily could be a field goal game. Cleveland could have, with that big play, could have been a game changer for them last week. Washington's defense, I've already said it, they're just so bad. Their offense is really good, but it's good offense going up against a pretty good defense, and then you got a very bad offense that's going up against, or not a very bad, but like a not great offense that's going up against the worst defense. So what could happen is it could be a close game, and I'm getting a hook. That's the most important thing to me here. So that's why I'm going to take Cleveland. I'm going to take the under as well. I think Cleveland's going to be able to shut down Jaden Daniels a little bit in this game, and I don't think Cleveland's going to score at will. They will score with Amari Cooper, but I don't think they'll score at will. So give me the under and give me Cleveland. Carolina at Chicago. Chicago's a 4-point favorite. 41 is your total.
Yeah, don't like this side. I could take Carolina or Chicago. It's coin flippy. I'll take the Bears because they're at home. I like the over more. I don't think either of these defenses, specifically the Carolina defense, I don't really like. I do think that with Andy Dalton, Carolina will be able to move the ball a little bit more as well. So I like the total more to go over. I'll take the home team, but I don't like this game.
All right. Where the hell were we? I'm going on the other side. I'm actually the exact opposite on you. I'm going to go with Carolina because it's the 4. This is just like the other game. I think this is a close game. I think Chicago's I've been talking about their defense a lot. I think it's a pretty damn good defense, why I kind of like the under as well. But I think their defense is going to keep it close. I think the muddiness of Chicago's offense keeps from being big scoring. Carolina is just like a middle line defense. And, offensively, they're working a lot better, but it's just you're going up against like a pretty solid D in Chicago. So I think this game is just close. I think it's playing to the under, and give me 4 points on Carolina here. So that's what I'm going to do. Baltimore, 2.5 on the road against Cincinnati. Big old over at 49.
Yeah, I've already talked about this game. I like the under here because the pace of this game, I think, is controlled by the Ravens. I think they run the ball down Cincinnati's throat, and Cincinnati has to play catch up. I don't like it. So give me Baltimore. Give me the under.
Baltimore in the under as well. This is a lot of points. I would not be shocked if the over hit. I don't like the total. Part of the reason is Baltimore can put up 30 on anybody, but also like their secondary has been a problem that did not get exposed last week, but that's something Cincinnati's probably going to do with guys like Chase and T. Higgins. So I would not be shocked at an over. I'm not going to play it though. I like the spread more than I like the total. So 2.5 under a field goal for Baltimore. I could actually get down with that. The Cardinals are at my San Francisco 49ers. 7.5 is the line. I will say DK has it at 7. If maybe we could use the DK number here and change that a little bit. So let's change that to 7. That makes me feel a little bit more comfortable about San Francisco by a touchdown. This could be a push situation. I am going to go with the over, though, because the 49ers defense is just not played up to snuff. Cardinals, definitely kind of one of those late comeback teams. It's a good matchup with Marvin Harrison. Kyler Murray might wreak a little bit of havoc, but I do think this is another 49ers take-it situation. I think even though I'm selling Ayuk, I think Ayuk's going to break out, and then I'm going to sell him after this week. I think there are points to be scored, and the 49ers have just not proven that they can score 30-plus points and shut defenses down, especially with an offense like the Cardinals. Dortch, Harrison, McBride, like they're going to find some spots. So I'm kind of neutral, a little, like slightly over neutral on both sides of this. Like kind of like the Niners I personally would probably buy it down to 6.5. And then I don't even mind the total. So that's my take on this game.
Yeah, I hate the total. I don't like it at all because I think it's exactly right. I think it's going to be very coin flippy. I think if you get it, it's going to be a backdoor cover on the total with the Cardinals trying to play catch up. So I'll take the under just to play favorites here. And then I'll take the Niners. I like the Niners side more, but I do not like the total at all. Give me the Niners in the under.
I think this was on your card. Denver -3 against the Raiders. 30 is really low. I think it's tied for the second. Yeah, it's tied for the lowest of the week. 36 is your total, and you were on the Denver side.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the under too, just because how do you trust Denver's offense to score, right? I think their defense is awesome. I think that's the best unit in this game is the Denver defense. So I think they're going to hold the Raiders down. The Raiders make terrible decisions as well, obviously, from Antonio Pierce. So I'll take the Broncos. That's the side I like. I'll take the under, but this is very, very low. But I see this game as like a 20-3, 20-10, something like that. Just boring, low scoring, lots of running in the second half. Awful game.
Well, this is interesting. This is perfect. Well, actually, I'll push this to when we get to that game. Sorry, Denver under. I'm going to go with you. So sorry about that. I was about to tell you some news that came out, but then I can tie it into the game here. Giants at Seattle, 7-point spread in favor of Seattle. 42.5 is the line. Malik Neighbors is all but out. I don't know if it's been confirmed. It's close. Wan'Dale Robinson's receiving yard prop is 6.5 at plus money right now. So without Malik Neighbors, I know it might seem silly, but like Singletary looks doubtful. Neighbors looks doubtful. The Giants look doubtful, and maybe Bogman's dream comes true and Drew Lock comes into this game. So there's no chance. I'll take Seattle. I'm going to take the under, though. I know it's like a lowish line. I don't think the Giants are going to do anything against Seattle. I think Seattle is going to. I don't think this is the situation. I mean, maybe you're going to say this. I do not think Seattle can do it all themselves at over 42 points. I just think this is going to be like a 30-7 game and call it.
Yeah, I don't like the total here at all. So I'm going to take the over mainly because I think maybe Seattle scores on defense. Like that's the thing is Danny Dimes, when he gets bad, he gets real turnover prone and happy. And, Devin Witherspoon picks off a ball. He can take it to the house. I think this game, I'm way more on the Seattle side, but I'll take Seattle in the over here.
All right, so my piece of news is attached to this game. Green Bay -3 on the road against the Rams. Totals 48.5. We knew Christian Watson was going to be out, but apparently, according to Ian Rappaport, it also looks like Dobbs is now doubtful as well. So this is going to be Wicks and Jaden Reed and Tucker Kraft. Thank you very much. I don't think it changes that much. I mean, it does, like, they love to do these like formational things where it's like 2 wideouts and then they have the other 2 wideouts. You're just going to have probably a lot more Jaden Reed. You're going to have a lot more Dobbs. What is it? Bo Melton. You're probably going to see some Melton in this one, and Tucker Kraft should get involved. I really don't think it changes too much. I already told you I like Green Bay in the spread, and I like the over. I like a lot of points to be scored. Dobbs is more of a get us a first down. Jaden Reed and Wicks are score us touchdowns. So the score us touchdown guys are still there, so that makes me happy. So the spread is already one of my plays, and I will take the over.
I like Green Bay in this game. I don't really care about Dobbs being down. We knew Watson was down going in. Dobbs going down doesn't change anything for me because my bigger concern is on the other side. It's that offensive line for the Rams that has just been miserable so far this year. And you have Rashawn Gary and Lucas Van Ness and Devontae Wyatt and this great defensive front for the Packers. I just don't expect to have a very good day from Matthew Stafford at all. So I'll take Green Bay and I'll take the under.
We got 2 more games. Dallas at your Pittsburgh Steelers. Dallas is actually a road dog. 2.5 in favor of Pittsburgh. 44 is the line.
They're Jesse James in this game. The road dog.
The road
Jesse
dogs.
James.
Dallas Cowboys.
Give me the Steelers and give me the over. I think the Steelers defense showed that they will give up some passing yards, and that's what happened against the Colts last week. That's what the Cowboys do. But I also don't really like this Dallas defense against the run, which is what Pittsburgh does. So I think Pittsburgh will be able to run the ball. I think Dallas will be able to pass the ball. Way more confident about the over than I am the side, but I'll take the home team again.
I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys. Pittsburgh is tough at home. It's a field goal. Again, this one could come down to a field goal. Dallas has still got a pretty good offense that, it's so super funny, man. I didn't do this bet on here but on the Betting Pro show, I had an under on my official plays. I had Rico Dowdle under rushing yards. And Joe set it up because he didn't look and read the sheet. He thought I had the over, and he was like, this is a really astute play. And I was like, I don't think you're reading that right. And he's like, oh, so he's kind of against me on it. And I was just like, listen, man, you just don't run on the Steelers. You don't run successfully. When they do run and they beat these props, they get 15 plus carries. Rico Dowdle has not had more than 11 carries in a game this year. So all I'm getting at is you just got 2 washy running backs that are not going to have this super effective thing. So if it gets into a passing game, I really do think that benefits the Dallas Cowboys.
It does.
Swing it. Now, Brandon Cooks being out doesn't help, but Ferguson, it's solid in there.
Patrick Queen has been so miserable in the middle of the defense for Pittsburgh too.
And Ferguson's probably going to eat. So it's I think this is close. I'm getting 2.5. Maybe I like Dallas a little bit more. I should be giving credit to your team. Your Pittsburgh Steelers have played awesome, but I'm going to go with the Cowboys. I'm going to go with the over though too. So I'm going to share that with you. I think Pittsburgh is, like I said, I like Pickens. I think they'll be able to sling some. Finally, New Orleans at Kansas City. 5.5 is the spread. 43.5 is the line. We kind of talked about it. The money's on New Orleans plus 5.5. And you and I are both going to tail that because Chiefs, they're not the biggest fans of covering spreads. They're without Rashee Rice. They're without running backs. This is like old school Chiefs play. It's just got to be like dink and dunk to Travis Kelce all day and have 12 other guys get 3 catches. I don't love that. So I'm going to go with New Orleans, and I'm going to go with because I'm getting a big line, and I'm going to go with the under because I think you're going to have some in and out drives for both of these teams.
Yeah. So the one thing that this game just feels so trappy to me. It feels like maybe we gave the Chiefs too many points so the people would take New Orleans here, and Rashee Rice with the injury. It feels like a trap. Like I'm Admiral Akbar right now, but I'll take New Orleans. I'll take the under as well. We just don't know what's going on with this Chiefs offense quite yet. So, but it doesn't feel good. I'm going to say that I will only be doing props in that game at all. It's probably my worst feel of the week is this game. So give me New Orleans, give me the under, but I hate this game.
Well, friends, that is it for our big bets. You guys can follow along. If any other bets, I got to do some more poking and prodding. I might post some in the group me room for Bet This League. You can also follow us on the Betting Pros app, bettingpros.com/Welsh. bettingpros.com/Bogman if you guys want to follow us. If you also go check out Betting Pros, you can see Bogman's best bets for the Saturday college slate. And then you will not hear me on Sunday morning. Nope, we're doing the live stream on Saturday, which I will not be a part of. Sleepy. So no Sunday morning, but I will be on the Sunday night as Bogman is traveling to Jupiter to watch the Dallas Cowboys and Pittsburgh Steelers, and I'll be doing it with Seth Wolcott, right?
Yep, Seth Wolcott, good dude. I do the college shows with him. I've done a couple of those Sunday shows with him as well. Young and a lot of energy.
Energy.
So,
yep. So that'll be on the Fantasy
show.
Pros around 7:30 p.m. Eastern if you guys want to check that out. Follow us on the Twitters at Is It The Welsh at Bogman Sports, and check us out on the Patreon inthisleague.com. Make sure you're feeding Captain. That is literally when you sign up, you're like, I just fed a cat for at least 3 days. So make sure that you sign up today, feed the cat, and just be a good humanitarian. If you're not a good humanitarian, then don't sign up. That's pretty easy. That's going to do it for us. Hopefully you guys have a fantastic week. Make some monies. We'll talk to you next time right here on In This League. Bet This League. Peace out.
See ya.